A very good morning. It's just past 8 this Tuesday morning and we're back again with The Breakfast Show. I'm Rukma. Over the next 1 hour, we take you through the major happenings from across India and the world as campaigning gathers pace in poll-bound Maharashtra and Haryana. Our reporters on the ground bring you all the latest updates. We also bring you the top stories from the world of sports and also the newspaper headlines published from the national capital. But first, the headlines. A string of high-level political rallies scheduled today across Haryana and Maharashtra in the run-up to the upcoming assembly elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address rallies in Dadri and Thanesar. Rajnath Singh in Pune and Congress's Rahul Gandhi to hold rallies in Wardha and Latur. BJP to release its Sankalp Patra for Maharashtra. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla represents India at the 141st Assembly of Inter-Parliamentary Union in Serbian capital Belgrade, stresses on the need to evolve internationally acceptable criteria and standards of international law and a balanced international system for a just, peaceful and prosperous world. Postpaid mobile telephony services restored in entire Jammu and Kashmir. Mobile phones ring once again in all 10 districts of the Kashmir Valley. Terrorists kill a truck driver in Shopian. Indian-American Abhijit Banerjee bags this year's Nobel Prize for Economics along with his French-American wife Esther Duflo and another American economist, Michael Kremer. Prime Minister Modi congratulates the winners. In international news, US reacts to Turkish offensive in northern Syria after US troops withdrawal. Sanctions 2 ministries and 3 senior officials. European Union governments limit arms sales to Turkey but stop short of an embargo. And in cricket, ICC announces major change in rules to decide ties in semi-finals and finals of major ICC events. Super over to be repeated until one team scores more runs than the other. And in our top story, election heat has been rising in Haryana and Maharashtra. Prime Minister Modi will address public meetings in Dadri and Kurukshetra's Thanesar in Haryana today. BJP will also release its Sankalp Patra for Maharashtra Assembly elections. BJP Working President JP Nadda will be present on the occasion. Union Minister Rajnath Singh will address a rally in Pune in Maharashtra. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is also scheduled to address public rallies in Maharashtra's Wardha and Latur. And joining us now is our correspondent Abhishek Singh from Dadri. Well, Abhishek, the Prime Minister to address a rally there in Dadri today. He's campaigning in Haryana. Give us a sense, he talked about the Rafale deal, about abrogation of Article 370, among the various other issues that he touched upon. He's promised modernization of the armed forces. How are people responding?
बिल्कुल रुकमा, देखिए ये पूरा जो दक्षिणी एरिया हरियाणा का क्षेत्र है जहां पे प्रधानमंत्री आज रैली कर रहे हैं। कल उन्होंने बल्लभगढ़ से जो है हरियाणा चुनाव की रैली की आगाज की और आज ये उनका दूसरा रैली है दादरी में। इस पूरे एरिया में अगर दो ही चीजें जो है यहाँ पर जो आमदनी है लोगों की, वो दो चीजों से, एक तो या तो खेतीबाड़ी से या फिर यहाँ के जो ज्यादातर जो घर है तकरीबन हर घर से एक व्यक्ति जो है वो फौज में है, पुलिस में है। ऐसे में जो प्रधानमंत्री की कल भी रैली रही, जिस तरीके से इसके पहले के सरकारों में कांग्रेस के 10 साल की जो सरकार रही 2004 से लेकर 2014 तक, उसके बीच में जिस तरीके से नौकरियों को लेकर के जो भाई भतीजावाद का अपनाया गया, उस पर काफी, उसको प्रधानमंत्री ने कल की रैली में भी उस पर काफी जोर दिया और कहा कि फिलहाल इन पिछले 5 सालों में 70,000 नौकरियां दी गई हैं पूरे हरियाणा के अंदर, और बिना किसी भेदभाव के, बिना किसी भाई भतीजावाद के। और ये एक जो पारदर्शिता है, ये लोगों के बीच में एक काफी बड़ा मुद्दा है कि अब जो नौकरी है, चाहे अमीर हो या गरीब, सबको एक साथ, सबको हक दिया जा रहा है इस चीज का। पहले जिस तरीके से वो ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग के लिए खर्ची और पर्ची का चक्कर चलता था, उससे जो है हरियाणा के लोगों को निजात मिली है। दूसरी बड़ी बात जो यहाँ पर है, चूंकि हरियाणा कृषि बाहुल क्षेत्र है, यहाँ पर गेहूं, सरसों, धान, बाजरा, यहाँ पे इन चीजों की काफी पैदाइश होती है, खास तौर पर इस इलाके में। ऐसे में किसानों की आमदनी को कैसे दुगना किया जाए, बीजेपी का फोकस इस पर है, न कि लोक लुभावन वादों पर। जिस तरीके से कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो में आपने देखा होगा कि कांग्रेस ने प्रति एकड़ 12,000 रुपये मुआवजा अगर नुकसान होता है उसको देने की बात की, तो इस तरह की जो स्कीमें हैं वो पहले से ही चल रही है। केंद्र सरकार की प्रधानमंत्री बीमा फसल योजना जो है वो पहले से ही चल रही है। बीजेपी का फोकस इस बार जो है वो ज्यादातर कि किस तरीके से किसानों की आमदनी 2022 तक दुगनी की जाए, उस पर है, न कि लोक लुभावन वादों पे। इसके अलावा भी कनेक्टिविटी पर काफी फोकस है। यहाँ पर एक मुद्दा कनेक्टिविटी का भी है कि जिस तरीके से हरियाणा में पिछले कुछ सालों में नेशनल हाईवे हो या फिर रेलवे का जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट हुआ है, उसको लेकर के लोग यहाँ पर काफी उसको उत्साहित है। उनका कहना है कि जिस तरीके से ये विकास की जो रफ्तार है, ये लगातार बढ़ती रहे पूरे हरियाणा के अंदर। ज्यादातर मैं आपको अगर बताऊं तो हरियाणा के अंदर लाल परिवार का ज्यादा दबदबा रहा। दशकों तक यहाँ पर देवीलाल, भजनलाल या फिर बंसीलाल, वो जो है यहाँ पर चुनते हुए, उनकी सरकारें चुनती हुई आई, और उसके बाद 10 साल तक कांग्रेस, भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा यहां पे रहे। लेकिन जिस तरीके से भ्रष्टाचार और भाई भतीजावाद पूरे क्षेत्र में फैला, उसको लेकर के भाजपा की जो मैनिफेस्टो है, उससे लोगों को लगता है कि नहीं, ये मैनिफेस्टो कोई चमत्कार नहीं है, बल्कि ये आम जनमानस से जुड़ा हुआ है। और ऐसे में प्रधानमंत्री की ये जो रैली है, ये काफी महत्वपूर्ण है, क्योंकि दादरी जो सीट है, यहाँ पर 2 सीटें है विधानसभा की, 1 सीट बीजेपी के पास है और 1 सीट पिछली बार जो है वो इनेलो ने जीती थी। वहीं प्रधानमंत्री की ये जो रैली है, तकरीबन 17 विधानसभाओं को यहां पर वो संबोधित करेंगे, जिसमें कि रेवाड़ी है, भिवानी है, भिवानी में 4 विधानसभा सीटें, रेवाड़ी है, इसके अलावा महेंद्रगढ़ है और झज्जर। तो एक दक्षिणी हरियाणा को कनेक्ट करने की दृष्टि से प्रधानमंत्री की यह रैली काफी महत्वपूर्ण है। रुकमा।
Right, well, Congress's Rahul Gandhi too has campaigned in Haryana. Well, a crucial battle for the party that that is struggling to survive in a state that was once a stronghold, as you just mentioned, Abhishek. What seems to be the Congress strategy for these elections?
बिल्कुल रुकमा, आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा। देखिए, राहुल गांधी ने कल मेवात के नूह से उन्होंने अपनी रैली की शुरुआत की हरियाणा में। हालांकि अगर कांग्रेस की बात करें तो कांग्रेस फिलहाल जो है उसके पास 17 विधानसभा सीटें उन्होंने 2014 में जीती, और वो सत्ता जो 10 साल से सत्ता में थी वो बाहर गई। इसका एक बहुत बड़ा कारण ये भी है कि जिस तरीके से भ्रष्टाचार पूरे हरियाणा के अंदर देखने को मिला कांग्रेस के शासनकाल में, उससे लोग बहुत नाराज थे। दूसरी बड़ी बात, जो कांग्रेस की स्ट्रेटेजी की अगर हम बात करें तो इस बार भी जो है कांग्रेस उन्हीं मुद्दों को सामने, जनता के सामने लेके आ रही है जो उन्होंने लोकसभा में रखा या उसके पहले अन्य राज्यों के चुनाव में रखा। रोजगार का मुद्दा हो या फिर इसके अलावा जो अन्य मुद्दे हैं उनको कांग्रेस कर रही है। लेकिन जो यहाँ पे अब लोगों के अंदर जो ये फीलिंग्स है, वो ये उनका जो फीडबैक है, उनका कहना है कि जिस तरीके से किसानों के हित में सिंचाई की व्यवस्था की गई हरियाणा में, क्योंकि किसान बाहुल क्षेत्र है, उससे वो काफी संतुष्ट दिखते हैं। जो नहरें बनाई गई थी, वहां से टेल तक पानी लाने की जो पंपिंग स्टेशन बना के जो व्यवस्था की गई, उससे यहाँ के किसान काफी खुश है। कांग्रेस जो है फिलहाल, कांग्रेस की जो स्ट्रेटेजी है वो किसी तरीके से लोगों को चमत्कार दिखा करके सत्ता वापसी की है। लेकिन कांग्रेस खुद आज जो है पूरे हरियाणा के अंदर फूट से गुजर रही है। यहाँ पर जो है अशोक तंवर, जो कि कांग्रेस छोड़ के जा चुके हैं, उन्होंने कांग्रेस पर सीट बेचने का भी आरोप लगाया कि 14 से 22 सीटें तक यहाँ पर बेची गई है। इसके अलावा कुमारी सैलजा का एक अलग गुट है, भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा का एक अलग गुट है, किरण चौधरी का एक अलग गुट है। तो कांग्रेस के अंदर जो मन मुटाव है वो साफ साफ नजर आ रहा है, और वो जनता को भी दिख रहा है। जो चौपाल है, ग्रामीण इलाके हैं, वहां पर लोग इस बारे में बात करते हैं कि कांग्रेस के अंदर जब इतनी फूट है तो फिर कांग्रेस किस तरीके से जनता का विश्वास जीत पाएगी। रुकमा।
Right, Abhishek. Well, thank you very much for joining us there. We'll be back with you throughout the day for more. And now moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held his first poll rally at Ballabgarh in Haryana yesterday. He took on the opposition on a range of issues, from abrogation of Article 370 to the Rafale fighter jet. He said the tables have turned now, with the Congress trying to pull together its factions that are at odds with each other. The PM assured that irrespective of their protestations, the BJP is committed to national security and modernization of the defence forces.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi began his campaign for BJP in Ballabgarh area of Faridabad on Monday. He took a swipe at the faction-ridden state unit of the Congress, saying his political opponents in Haryana used to ask him who is the captain. He said the tables have turned now, with the Congress trying to pull together its factions that are at odds with each other.
संयोग देखिए, जो तब मुझसे कैप्टन को लेकर सवाल करते थे, वो आज अपनी बिखरी टीम को ही समेटने के लिए एड़ी चोटी का जोर लगा रहे हैं.
Terming Congress anti-reform, he charged the Congress and like-minded opposition parties with opposing each and every reform in the country.
हर परिवर्तन के सामने कांग्रेस और उसके जैसे दल दीवार बनकर के खड़े हो जाते हैं.
Without naming former Haryana Chief Minister Om Prakash Chautala and his family members jailed in a teachers' recruitment scam, PM said government recruitment in the past meant nepotism and corruption and landed many political leaders in jail. The scenario, he said, has changed now.
हरियाणा में सरकारी भर्ती का मतलब पहले होता था रिश्वतखोरी और युवाओं से लूट. नौकरी के लिए जितने तरह के खेल होते थे, उन्होंने यहां के कई नेताओं को जेल तक पहुंचाया है. ये स्थिति अब बदल चुकी है.
Taking on previous Congress-led regimes at the centre for using delaying tactics on one rank, one pension, Prime Minister said around 2 lakh ex-servicemen from Haryana benefited from the rollout of OROP during his first stint in power. Terming Congress's opposition on partial abrogation of Article 370, Rafale deal and other issues linked to national security as anti-national, PM assured that irrespective of their protestations, the BJP is committed to national security and modernization of defence forces. PM Modi will address public meetings in Dadri and Kurukshetra on Tuesday.
ये कितना भी विरोध करें, कितनी ही साजिशें करें, राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा के लिए, सेना के सशक्तिकरण के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी प्रतिबद्ध है और हम उसे लगातार गति भी दे रहे हैं.
Leading the opposition charge, former Congress President Rahul Gandhi addressed a poll rally in Nuh in Haryana, attacking the BJP over centre's decisions like GST and demonetization.
पहले नोटबंदी, आप सबसे कहा काले धन के खिलाफ लड़ाई है, सबको लाइन में खड़ा किया. उस लाइन में आपने अनिल अंबानी को देखा था क्या? खड़ा था क्या? वो अदानी खड़ा था उसमें. एक काले धन वाला उस लाइन में नहीं खड़ा. उसके बाद गब्बर सिंह टैक्स जो बचा था वो भी आपके जेब से निकाल दिया. हाँ, कोई है जो कह सकता है हाँ जीएसटी से मुझे फायदा हुआ है? कोई एक यहां पे है आदमी? एक आदमी को फायदा नहीं हुआ.
Haryana goes to polls on 21st October. Counting of votes will take place on 24th October. With Urmilesh Bhatt in Ballabgarh, DD India.
And Congress leader Rahul Gandhi was also in Haryana's Nuh wooing voters. Leading the opposition charge, Rahul Gandhi addressed a poll rally in Nuh. He said that the Congress will accomplish all the pending projects in Haryana if it is voted to power.
आपके 3-4 मुद्दे हैं, यहां पे मेरे सामने लिखे हुए हैं. पहला मुद्दा गुड़गांव से अलवर की रेलवे लाइन. दूसरा, न्यू इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज को यूनिवर्सिटी का दर्जा देना. तीसरा, कोटला लेक एक्सपेंशन और चौथा, मेवात कैनाल. मैं आपको यहां झूठे वायदे करने नहीं आया हूं, मगर मैं आपको डायरेक्ट सीधा बोल रहा हूं. हरियाणा में कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार बनी तो ये काम चारों हो जाएंगे.
And well, campaigning is heating up in Maharashtra as well. We are joined by our correspondent Shyama Mishra from Mumbai. Shyama, well, a very good morning to you. Campaigning clearly peaking in Maharashtra as parties leave no stone unturned to woo voters. BJP's Rajnath Singh to address a rally today. For the Congress, Rahul Gandhi to seeming to lead the fray. It's a day of hectic campaigning ahead. Take us through what can be expected.
Yes, well, we are expecting a lot of action from both the parties, from both the alliances rather, and we are expecting, first of all, we are expecting the release of manifesto of BJP, because we saw Shiv Sena alliance of BJP has already released its manifesto, and today around 10 o'clock, later than that, BJP working president JP Nadda would be here at Rang Sharda, where we are right now, and he would be coming and releasing the party manifesto. All senior leaders of BJP, including CM Devendra Fadnavis, Chandrakant Patil and other senior leaders would be here for releasing the manifesto. We are expecting that, this would be an extension of the last elections manifesto, and main action and main importance preference on the farmers issue, employment issue, manufacturing and other issues. We've already seen Shiv Sena has released its manifesto some days back, and we saw that Shiv Sena has also given its preference to the farmers issue. Also, they have said that if the alliance comes into power, then they would be opening eateries, around 1,000 eateries, which would be offering a thali, a plate of around 10 rupees to everyone. Also, we saw Congress NCP already releasing its manifesto. They have also given their preference and their importance on the farmers issue, unemployment issue. We are talking about campaigning also here. We are seeing an intense action from all the parties, all the, everyone all over Maharashtra. We saw Rajnath Singh yesterday addressing campaigning for 4 to 5 candidates in Mira Bhayandar, Goregaon and other areas. Now we are seeing he would be going to internal Maharashtra and other areas in the rural Maharashtra. Also we saw yesterday Smriti Irani, Niranjan Jyoti. Today we would be seeing the actor Ravi, the Bihar actor. He would be here, Ravi Kishan, and then he would be campaigning. Later on, we would be seeing JP Nadda talking to opinion makers, so that we can expect more from the opinion makers. And also we are seeing that Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, he would be addressing more rallies in the internal Maharashtra. We saw day before yesterday Rahul Gandhi addressed 3 rallies in Maharashtra, 2 itself in Mumbai, and there what the issues that he had picked up were in unemployment, the GST, demonetization and other issues that we've already heard in the bite that you've played that happened in Haryana. And now we are seeing that the BJP side, because we are seeing all the union ministers, all the central leaders, big leaders of BJP, senior leaders of BJP are here to campaign for various candidates which are standing for the BJP, which are standing from the BJP. And the main issue that they are picking up here is the removal of Article 370 and how it has and how it will benefit India and nation as a whole. Also, they are picking up this topic as well, that the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, he has a clean image, and all the issues, all the projects that he has picked up, including Jal Yukt Shivar, building of infrastructure, including metro, mono projects and everything that has led to the development of the state. So yes, one side we are seeing the issues by BJP and Shiv Sena that have already benefited and will be benefiting further, and one side is Congress party, which is picking up issues like the unemployment, how it has affected small traders, MSMEs. So yes, both sides are keeping their part, and we'll have to see what happens on 21st and the result on 24th of this month.
Right, Shyama, well, as usual in Maharashtra and particularly in Mumbai, a number of interesting candidates this time around as well. Candidates whose campaign trail is being very closely followed, new faces, some of them. What would you say are the most prominent contests when we talk about Mumbai in particular?
Yes, we are seeing from both the alliances, BJP, Shiv Sena and Congress, NCP. Well, it was till last minute that they were deciding on which candidate to put. We are talking about NCP and the Congress. They were, in itself, they were not able to decide which candidate to put where, and there was a kind of tiff between both the alliances. However, in Shiv Sena BJP, we saw the high-end drama till October beginning. We saw that they were not. They had announced already that they would be fighting together, the elections, they would be contesting together, but the sharing of seats were not, announced till October. After that, when they had announced that Shiv Sena would be taking up 124 seats and BJP more than 150 seats, then we saw that the names started coming out of BJP list and then Shiv Sena list separately. Then we started seeing that in BJP did drop some of the prominent names, including Vinod Tawde, Prakash Mehta, Raj Purohit, and then they included fresh faces. In Shiv Sena also, at many places we are seeing the repetition of faces. Here we are standing at Wandre, and this constituency from Wandre West, we are seeing Ashish Shelar, Advocate Ashish Shelar from BJP, and from the Congress side, we are seeing another candidate. So yes, including the new faces that have come from NCP, Congress and other parties in BJP, they have also got a prominent, they are contesting, they've got a ticket. So yes, in Baramati we are talking about the Dhangar leader, Gopi Chand Paralkar. He was a fresh face in BJP. He left BJP, then he again came into BJP, and then Devendra Fadnavis, when he was inducted in BJP, he gave a proposal to Gopi Chand Paralkar that would he contest or would he win that Baramati seat, and then he said yes, and because he has a lot of support from the Dhangar community, he is contesting from that place, and opposite him is NCP's Ajit Pawar. So that is a tough fight over there. We have to see because Ajit Pawar has a stronghold over that place. Here also in Mumbai, we are seeing fresh faces like Prakash Mehta has been not given the ticket, Parag Shah has been given the ticket, but that area is totally Gujarati ruled, Gujarati we can say preferred, and Gujarati ruled area. So yes, their chances of mostly we can say this is all these names have been already announced and carefully thought about, so that people would be giving their mandate to these people, these candidates, and BJP, Shiv Sena, most likely, because we are seeing an intense, we already said that intense campaigning has been going on, but
campaigning,
BJP's end,
campaigning in
more
fact,
ministers,
in fact,
more
heating
ministers
up
are coming out and campaigning for the party.
Right, campaigning heating up as leaders across party lines hit the campaign trail in Maharashtra. A number of high-profile public meetings to be addressed by top leaders of various parties today as well. Thank you very much, Shama, for joining us there. And Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla yesterday represented India at the 141st Assembly of Inter-Parliamentary Union in Serbian capital Belgrade. He stressed on the need to evolve internationally acceptable criteria and standards of international law. He also highlighted a balanced international system for a just, peaceful and prosperous world, and said that Parliament is an open institution which enables citizens to become aware of the work of their elected representatives and empowers them to hold the parliamentarians to be responsive and responsible. Om Birla said parliamentarians are an important medium of communication between the people and the government. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu today arrived in New Delhi after concluding his successful 5-day visit to the Union of Comoros and Sierra Leone. 6 agreements each were signed between India and Comoros and India and Sierra Leone. During the visits, the Vice President stressed that the Indian community in Comoros and Sierra Leone has been playing an important role in promoting bilateral ties and creating opportunities for the local economy. The first ever visit of the Vice President to the two countries was aimed at providing new momentum to our bilateral partnership with these countries. The visit was part of India's Africa outreach policy. India's engagement with the African continent has intensified in the last 5 years and covers a large number of sectors. And moving on, all postpaid mobile services, barring data, have been restored in the entire Kashmir Valley yesterday. The move comes days after the centre issued an advisory opening up the valley for tourists. Union Minister Jitendra Singh said that it is a matter of happiness for the people of the state, but internet services will have to wait for a few more days. People of the valley have hailed the move, saying it will now become easier to talk to their near and dear ones.
Nearly 70 days after the imposition of a communication shutdown in Kashmir, the government has restored postpaid mobile services in the valley.
Having reviewed the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, a decision has now been taken to restore mobile phone facilities in the remaining areas of Jammu and Kashmir. More specifically, all post-paid mobile phones, irrespective of the telecom service provider, will stand restored and be functional.
Landline services were restored last month in the valley. All postpaid mobile services, irrespective of the telecom operator, now stand restored. This covers all 10 districts of the valley. Some 40 lakh postpaid mobile phones have become operational.
टेलीफोन के जरिए ही टेररिज्म की एक्टिविटी बढ़ाई जाती है, मोबिलाइजेशन होता है, इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन होता है। हमारे लिए इन कश्मीरी भाई की जान जरूरी थी, टेलीफोन जरूरी नहीं था। और हमने कामयाबी के साथ सब लोगों की जान बचाई। अब खैर वो टेलीफोन भी खुल गया है, कारोबारी लोग भी आसानी से अपना काम कर सकते हैं, टूरिस्ट ने आना शुरू कर दिया है और अब कोई दिक्कत रहेगी नहीं। जल्दी इंटरनेट भी खुल जाएगा। जब तक इंटरनेट नहीं है, हमने इम्तिहान वाले और बाकी जो लोग हैं उनके लिए सुविधाएं की हैं, कियोस्क खोले हैं, डीसी के यहाँ सुविधा दी है।
People of the valley have hailed the move, saying that it will now become easier to talk to their near and dear ones.
जो आज ये फ़ोन चालू हुए हैं BSNL या कोई भी पोस्ट पेड सिम, तो बहुत खुशी महसूस हो रही है आज, क्योंकि फिर हमें एक दूसरे के साथ बात करनी है।
मोबाइल सर्विसेज शुरू होने से हमें बहुत ही खुशी है, क्योंकि हम अपने लोगों से बात नहीं कर पा रहे थे। नेटवर्क चालू हो गया है और हम आशा करते हैं ये ऐसे ही बरकरार बनी रहे।
Landline telephony was resumed partially in the valley on August 17th, and by September 4th, nearly 50,000 landlines were made operational. In Jammu, the communication was restored within days of the communication shutdown, and mobile internet was started around mid-August. However, after its misuse, internet facility on cell phones was snapped on August 18th. Bureau Report, DD News.
Days before the casting of the first ballot for the October 24th Block Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir, an official on Monday said that 14 candidates have been elected unopposed as councillors in 2 blocks of South Kashmir's Anantnag district have been elected unopposed. Anantnag's district election officer has said 14 candidates have been elected unopposed in 2 blocks of Bijbihara and Chitargul in Anantnag district. Anantnag's DEO, entrusted with the task of reviewing election arrangements in the district, meanwhile examined the preparations being made for the election of 57 BDC councillors from 14 blocks. The electorate for the BDC election comprises village panchayats, panchas and sarpanchas. And a truck driver from Rajasthan was shot dead by 2 terrorists, including a suspected Pakistani national, at Shiramal village in Shopian district of Jammu and Kashmir yesterday. The deceased driver has been identified as Sharif Khan. The terrorists also beat the owner of a garden. Jammu and Kashmir police have informed that the area is under cordon and police are on the spot. Police say that terrorists are frustrated by the movement of trucks loaded with fruit in the valley, so they carried out the attack in the village of Shiramal. According to police, there is anger among the locals after the incident. Teams of Army, Jammu and Kashmir police and CRPF were sent to the area. Search operations are underway. Indian-American Abhijit Banerjee, his wife Esther Duflo and another economist, Michael Kremer, have jointly won the 2019 Nobel Economics Prize for their experimental approach to alleviating global poverty. Banerjee and French-American Duflo both work at the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology, while Kremer is at Harvard University. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has said that the research conducted by this year's laureates has considerably improved the ability to fight global poverty. It added that they have introduced a new approach to obtaining reliable answers about the best ways to fight global poverty.
The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has today decided to award the Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel for 2019, jointly to Abhijit Banerjee, Esther Duflo and Michael Kremer for their experimental approach to alleviating global poverty.
Prime Minister Modi congratulated Abhijit Banerjee for winning the Nobel Prize for Economics, saying he has made notable contributions in the field of poverty alleviation. The PM tweeted, "Congratulations to Abhijit Banerjee on being conferred the 2019 Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel. He has made notable contributions in the field of poverty alleviation." He also congratulated Esther Duflo and Michael Kremer for winning the Nobel. The nation pays homage to former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam on his birth anniversary today. Former President APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man who became popular as the People's President, was born in Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu. He was considered the brain of the missile program in India and was the chief scientific advisor to Vajpayee. He was also instrumental in the Pokhran nuclear tests in 1998. In his message, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said Dr. Kalam was a great scholar, teacher and earned the love and respect from everywhere. Dr. Kalam made innumerable contributions to Indian defense. His commitment, patriotism and vision to make India a strong nation will continue to inspire people. The Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana is playing a key role in transforming the lives of women in rural Bengal. Women who till recently used to cook with burning wood in mud stoves have now received free gas connections thanks to the Yojana. Here's a ground report from Cooch Behar in the state.
One can see joy on the faces of women with the launch of the central government's Ujjwala Yojana. Women who till recently used to cook by burning wood in mud stoves are now leading a healthy life, as they no longer have to inhale the harmful black smoke emanating from burning wood that was hazardous to their health.
Earlier, we used to cook food by burning wood in a mud stove. It used to create a lot of smoke. Our eyes used to burn and we had difficulty breathing. Under the Ujjwala scheme, we have been given smokeless stoves along with LPG cylinders. Now our eyes don't burn and we are very happy. We want to thank our Prime Minister for the scheme.
In Kuti village of Cooch Behar district, women used to risk their health cooking on mud stoves. And this is a thing of the past now, as several thousand women have got free gas connections, resulting in every household having a gas connection thanks to Ujjwala Yojana. Women of Kuti village are grateful to the Ujjwala Yojana for taking care of their health by providing them with smokeless chulas and LPG cylinders. Bureau Report, DD News.
And now for some international news. President Donald Trump has announced sanctions against Turkey in response to the country's military offensive in northern Syria. The U.S. sanctioned 2 Turkish ministries and 3 senior government officials. President Trump also phoned his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan to demand an immediate truce. Further, Vice President Mike Pence would travel to the region as quickly as possible. Besides, European Union governments have agreed to limit arms exports to Turkey, stopping short of a bloc-wide embargo on a NATO ally. A full embargo would have grouped Turkey with Venezuela and Russia, countries where the EU has a formal ban and views them as hostile. The EU exported 45 million euros worth of arms and ammunition to Turkey last year, including missiles. Meanwhile, Turkish President Erdogan has said that Turkish operations in Syria were aimed to clear the country and return it to its true masters. In another development, the Syrian government's troops moved north toward the border region, setting up a potential clash with Turkish-led forces. In response, US military vehicles were seen stationed in the northern Syrian town of Kobani, where they were reportedly stationed to obstruct Syrian and Russian forces from entering. And in a major recognition for Mumbai's heritage conservation movement, 3 city landmarks, Flora Fountain, Gloria Church at Baikula and Knesset Eliyahu Synagogue at Kalaghora have won this year's UNESCO Asia Pacific Awards for Cultural Heritage Conservation. Flora Fountain received the award under the category honorable mention. The Award of Merit was given to the Jewish Synagogue and Gloria Church. The Vikram Sarabhai Library, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, received the Award of Distinction for its restoration. The UNESCO Asia Pacific Awards for Cultural Heritage Conservation Program recognizes the efforts of private individuals and organizations that have successfully restored and conserved structures and buildings of heritage value in the region. This year marked 20 years of the UNESCO Awards for Cultural Heritage Conservation, which was conceived in Penang in Malaysia during UNESCO's landmark Economics of Heritage Regional Conference in 1999. And time now for news from the world of business and finance. My colleague Achal joins us with all the updates.
Well, thank you very much, Rukma, and let's have a look at those news which are making headlines in the world of business. The Reserve Bank on Monday increased the withdrawal limit for depositors of scam-hit Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank to rupees 40,000 from rupees 25,000 per account over the next 6 months. This is the third time the regulator has increased the withdrawal limit since its clampdown on the bank on September 23rd, when the RBI had capped it at rupees 1,000 per customer. The RBI, after reviewing the bank's liquidity position and its ability to pay its depositors, has decided to further enhance the limit for the withdrawal to rupees 40,000 inclusive of rupees 25,000 allowed earlier, the central bank said in a statement. RBI also said that it is closely monitoring the developments and shall continue to take necessary steps in the interest of the depositors of the bank. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari inaugurated a conference on One Nation, One Tag, FASTag in New Delhi yesterday to roll out the process for having a unified electronic system across the country. MOS Road Transport and Highways General VK Singh and ministers and other senior officials from several states were also present on the occasion. Speaking on the occasion, Gadkari said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been giving a lot of emphasis on large-scale transport reforms. He said the unified and nationwide interoperable RFID-based tag for vehicles is a major step in this direction. Under this system, the same FASTag affixed on the windscreen of a vehicle can be used to pay toll across all toll plazas in the country. And news on the front for inflation. The wholesale inflation eased to more than 3-year low of 0.33% in September this year, mainly due to falling prices of fuel and certain food articles. According to the official data, the wholesale price index-based inflation was 1.08% in August this year and 5.22% in September last year. The previous low was recorded in June 2016 when WPI was in negative at 0.1%. Inflation for food articles as a basket remained nearly flat at 7.47% during the month. And that's all we have in this edition of Finance World. Back to Rukma for other news updates.
Well, thank you very much, Achal. And time now for some sports news. The International Cricket Council on Monday tweaked the Super Over rule for all its major events following the uproar over the outcome of the Men's World Cup final in July when England were declared winners against New Zealand on boundary count. New Zealand and England had headed into the Super Over after scores in the World Cup final were tied at 241. Once the Super Over also ended in a tie with both teams making 15, the winner was decided on account of superior boundary count. Following that nerve-wracking final, the ICC faced the wrath of fans and former players over the controversial rule. Now it has finally made changes to the rule, and in case a situation arises where both teams are tied even after the Super Over in a final or semi-final, the Super Over will be repeated until there is a clear winner. Indian bowlers, particularly the spinners, on Monday came out with a stupendous bowling performance as the women in blue defeated South Africa in a low-scoring thriller and clinched the 3-match ODI series 3-0. After managing just 146 runs in their first innings, The Indian Eves rode on brilliant bowling performances from Ekta Bisht, Deepti Sharma and Rajeshwari Gaikwad to bowl out South African women for 140 and win the match by 6 runs. Ekta, who was adjudged the player of the match, was the pick of the Indian bowlers as she scalped 3 wickets, giving away just 32 runs from her 10 overs. She was well supported by Deepti and Rajeshwari, who picked up 2 wickets each. The Indian football team will be in action in Kolkata for the first time in 8 years as they take on Bangladesh in their World Cup qualifier at the Vivekananda Yuva Bharati Krirangan, more popularly known as Salt Lake Stadium in Kolkata. India come into the match on the back of their impressive performance against Asian champions Qatar, which earned them a goalless draw in Doha. And time now to take a look at the top stories published in the newspapers from the national capital today. Well, of course, the Nobel Prize announcements dominating almost all the papers, and in fact the editorial pages also detailing various aspects as writers see them. Well, I'm selecting the Indian Express. It says an economics for the poor, an article about the paradigm shift in approach to alleviating poverty by the 3 Nobel Prize winners for economics this year, Banerjee, Duflo and Kremer. A very proud day for India as Indian-born Abhijit Banerjee is declared a winner this year. It says that it talks about various details about their experiments to alleviate global poverty, the pitfalls, the criticism, and how it is still helping and aiding the alleviation of poverty. Now, moving on to the Hindustan Times, an article here about how the monsoon this time is retreating 5 times faster. The question that's asked is gone in 9 days. In fact, that's what the IMD has said, that the monsoon, which is southwest monsoon, which is supposed to retreat in over 45 days, is retreating in just 9 this time around. Another aspect of climate change, of course. Now, moving on to the Economic Times, as campaigning peaks in Haryana and Maharashtra, which goes to the polls this month. Even the Economic Times talks about how in Haryana, one of the poll planks that have to be dealt with, that are being dealt with by political parties this time around, is drug abuse. It says after Punjab, it's Urta, Haryana. Drug abuse emerges top election issue. And now in some international news, I take you to this report in the Hindu, which talks about Brexit on October 31st, a priority, says the Queen. Officials are racing to reach a deal on UK's exit terms ahead of the EU summit. And it details various aspects of the deal, the problems that it is facing, and how the Queen is insisting that it is a priority. And finally, well, an interesting picture here from the Hindustan Times again, royal collaboration for a cleaner Yamuna. It says it shows the royal couple from the Netherlands, King William Alexander and Queen Maxima at the Barapula Drain, where they launched phase 2 of an Indo-Dutch water treatment project. Well, those are few of the top stories in the newspapers this morning. And now let's take a look at what were the important events that took place on this day, the 15th of October.
On this day, 1939, former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man of India, was born in Tamil Nadu's Rameshwaram. On the same day, 1932, JRD Tata flew the first ever flight of the Tata Air Services from Karachi's Drig Road Aerodrome to Mumbai's Juhu airstrip via Ahmedabad. On this day, 1993, Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk were named winners of the Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts to end apartheid in South Africa.
And time now to take a look at the events listed for later today in today's Outlook.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah to be the chief guest at the 35th Raising Day of the National Security Guards at NSG Garrison in Manesar in Gurugram. Centre's deadline for central PSUs to clear overdue payments to vendors as it looks to lift economic growth from 6-year low comes to an end. The ban by Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority on diesel gensets to come into effect in NCR, in Ghaziabad, Noida, Greater Noida, Faridabad, Gurugram, Sonipat, Panipat and Bahadurgarh. National Institute of Technology in Srinagar to reopen after having been closed for 74 days.
And in our health segment, today is Global Hand Washing Day. Every year, this day is observed to spread awareness on hand washing habits in people. This year's theme is Clean Hands for All. Doctors advise frequent hand washing. They also say that improper hand washing increases risk of infection. How? Take a look.
Global Hand Washing Day is being observed. It is a campaign to motivate and mobilize people around the world to improve their hand washing habits. Improper hand washing is a common cause of infections and diseases. Hand washing is an important part of keeping food safe, preventing diseases and helping children grow strong.
The best way to maintain a good hand hygiene is wash your hands whenever they are dirty. You are touching the dirty areas, clothes, door handles, computers, taps, or after going to the toilet, and whenever you feel your hands are dirty, you must clean.
This year's theme for Global Hand Washing Day is Clean Hands for All, which focuses on the importance of hand washing. Washing hands at critical point during the day and washing with soap are both important. Hand washing with soap is an easy, effective and affordable way of self-protection that prevent infections and save lives.
Right hand washing technique is very important to keep your hands clean. By that you should use the clean water first, rinse your hands in the clean water, then apply the soap over the palm. You should rotate it like this, and then you should rub at the back of the hand, interlacing your fingers, then the another hand. Then you should rub your palms with interlacing of the fingers. Then you should rub your thumb, and you should rub your tip of the nails and fingers. You should rub on, rotate them by to and fro motions, and then you should scrub the whole hand and rinse with clean water. And after that you should dry your hands with a clean tissue paper or a cloth.
Wash your hands with soap frequently, especially before eating, cooking or feeding others. Promote effective hand washing behavior to be safe and healthy. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
Determination, born out of education abruptly cut short due to lack of funds, has made 29-year-old Mohammad Mehboob Malik of Kanpur set up a school to provide education for the poor, free of cost.
Mohammad Mehboob Malik, a tea seller in Sharda Nagar area of Kanpur, imparts free education to poor children. The 29-year-old decided to embark upon this noble initiative 4 years ago. First, he started taking classes on the streets, but as he garnered popularity, the inflow of students rose and Malik shifted his classes to a rented hall. Malik had to discontinue his own educational pursuits after high school due to lack of funds, and this made him determined to teach those children whose families could not afford their education. Malik sells tea at his tea stall and uses his earnings to pay salaries to his fellow teachers and the rent of the hall. Children are provided books, stationery and other study material at the school free of cost.
समय की माली हालत देख के मैं आगे नहीं बढ़ पाया कि शायद मेरे पास इतना पैसा नहीं था कि मैं आगे शिक्षा को ले जा सकूं, और फिर मैंने संकल्प लिया कि मैं नहीं पढ़ सका, मैं उन बच्चों को पढ़ाऊंगा जो नहीं पढ़ पा रहे हैं और शिक्षा से महरूम है। मैं अपनी चाय की दुकान से जितनी भी इनकम होती है मैं इन बच्चों के लिए लगाता हूँ, कॉपी, किताबें, पेंसिल, ड्रेस। इस वक्त मैं पीजी से 4 तक स्कूल चला रहा हूँ जहाँ बहुत से बच्चे हैं और मुझ शिक्षा पा रहे हैं।
Today, 40 children attend classes in Malik's school, where some others have also volunteered to teach. Malik's day at work begins at his tea stall before he proceeds to teach children at a school, leaving his tea stall under the supervision of his father. Before concluding his day, he sits at his tea stall again. Reciting poetry with ease, These students aspire to make it big in their lives. Malik's life exemplifies how one can make a difference to society by walking an extra mile. With inputs from Rajesh in Kanpur, Bureau Report, DD News.
A major decision has been taken that all Sports Authority of India stadiums and facilities will be made free for federations to hold competitions and leagues. Also, non-SAI coaches can train their athletes in SAI facilities free of cost by booking training slots online. This decision was made to promote Fit India movement and to make play fields and sporting infrastructure accessible to all sportspersons across the country.
Fit India gets new impetus as Sports Ministry makes sporting infrastructure accessible to all. SAI facilities will now be free for federations to hold competitions and leagues. Also, non-SAI coaches can train their athletes in SAI facilities free of cost by booking training slots online. With an effort to further the Fit India movement and to make play fields and sporting infrastructure accessible without fee to all sports persons across the country from 1st November 2019, the Ministry of Sports has decided to allow national and state sports federations, leagues and clubs to organize sports events in all sporting facilities owned by the government free of cost. The sporting facilities will also be accessible free of cost to coaches training athletes who are not part of camps organized in Sports Authority of India centers. The decision was taken with the view that people must have access to play fields and sporting infrastructure so that the culture of playing sport and therefore of fitness becomes a way of life for Indians. In the first phase, stadiums in Delhi including Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, Indira Gandhi Stadium, Major Dhyan Chand Stadium and Karni Singh Shooting Range will be opened up for state and national federations to host competitions, tournaments and leagues for all sporting disciplines. The new policy will also allow non-SAI coaches to train their athletes at the stadium without any charge, provided that the coach has a minimum of at least 10 wards under his or her training. Training session can be booked by a coach online from November 1st. Sports Desk, DD News.
And let's now take a look at how the weather's been across the country. Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of The Breakfast Show. But before we go, we'll leave you with these glimpses of a traditional Kullu Dashera of Himachal Pradesh. Take a look and enjoy. Namaskar.
Thank you.